Hello there. This is Mr. Chan. I'm going to teach you about the CRAAP test. So you're moving from US 101 into your next standard. And your next standard, you're going to have to research. You're going to have to go online and read articles on websites. And you'll need to be able to tell the difference between a website you can trust and a website that you can't. So the CRAAP test is basically a way for you to be able to tell whether or not you can trust a site or not. So what does CRAAP stand for? It stands for currency, relevance, authority, accuracy, per pass. So I'm going to explain what each of these individually mean. And after I've done that, you're going to move on to the worksheet, which I will explain too. What does currency mean? It means how timely is information. Was the article made this year, last year, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10, 20 years ago? If it's an old article, it could mean that the information you're reading is out of date. Obviously, then, information that you read from an article that was made recently is more likely to be up to date. So, because as people, we are growing, our knowledge is growing, and we used to believe in wrong things. Like we used to believe that witches existed. We used to believe that we couldn't fly, or the Earth was round, or the Earth was flat. Sorry, I'm not a flat earther. I believe the Earth is round. But that's what I mean is that as time progresses, as time goes on, we learn more things, and older articles could be telling us the wrong information. So the newer the information, the more likely to be up to date. Relevance. How well does the source meet your needs? Does your website actually help you in your inquiry? Does it actually help you answer your question? For example, my year 12s are doing an inquiry on how they can make the school more environmentally friendly. Excuse me. When they're going on websites, when they're trying to answer that question, when they go on an article, that article needs to help them address that question. If the article doesn't help them answer the question, how can I make my school more environmentally friendly, then it's not helpful and you shouldn't be on that article. Is the information at an appropriate level? If the information it's giving you is really simple, if it doesn't go in depth enough, for instance, if it just says, "Oh, just tell students to pick up their trash and put it in the bin," and that's all they say, then it's not very helpful because we already do that. It needs to actually teach us a little more. It needs to go in depth with its answers. If it's not in depth enough, then it's not actually helping you, and therefore it's not a website that you should be looking at. Does the information relate to you? Yeah. Who is the audience? Now, who is the audience? Dora the Explorer was made for people from 3 to 5 years old. Cartoon Network is made for people between 8 to 15, 17 years old. And then we have movies that are R15, R16, R18, whatever. Certain things are made for a certain age group. So when you go on the internet, you want to check what kind of age group they're trying to target. Also, watch out for some websites might be targeting people with certain opinions, like PETA, for instance. PETA, PETA, is an organization that's promoting is against animal cruelty, and they're kind of an organization that's promoting peace for animals. That's a kind of their website is targeting people that care about animals. Same for I don't know, say PB Tech, for instance, which is a technology store in New Zealand that sells electronics like phones and mice, keyboards, monitors, TVs. It's just all sorts of electronic things. Um, their website would be targeting people that love technology. So, what kind of person are they trying to target their article for? That's important too. Authority. Who is the person that's writing the website, writing the article? Who made the website? That makes a big difference. If the person that's writing the website, the article, doesn't really know what they're talking about, if they're someone that doesn't have credentials, then they're not someone that you necessarily should listen to. In fact, you shouldn't listen to them. For instance, if I went online and I wrote an article about how to dance, you shouldn't trust me, because straight up I can't dance and I don't have any kind of credentials for dancing. I haven't learnt how to dance. I don't have a degree in dance. Mr. Henry, if you heard me, probably would be just laughing his ass off because I don't know what I'm talking about. So the person that's writing it, you have to check their background. If they don't actually know anything about, don't know any kind of, if they don't have the knowledge to speak about the things they're talking about in the article, then don't trust them. Like, say for instance, a person that's has a background in journalism. Oh no, not journalism. If a person has a background in history online and he's talking about, say, oh no, that's a bad example too. If there's a person online who knows how it works in, say, technology, and they're talking about history, you shouldn't necessarily trust them. Yeah. Accuracy. What is the evidence that they're using to support their information? Who are they relying on? If they talk to some big scientist and he says like, "Oh, I did a study and you know, and I did a study on people that vape and people that don't vape, and I found that people that do vape are more likely to have lung disease," then you need to check the background of that scientist. Are they actually who they're saying they are? Other evidence could be that the article could be citing, could be talking about some study, some experiment, or maybe the website was written by someone that is a journalist. They went to Egypt, for example, all over the world, and they report on news. Like they went to Egypt and they saw, I don't know, they saw the riots there or something, and they were actually there to observe what was going on. Then maybe there's someone you can trust about what's going on in Egypt. But if they weren't there and they're just and their opinions are based on what they read online, for example, then it's not necessarily someone you should trust. Also, is the language objective, unbiased, and free of emotion? So usually when you have inquiry questions, there's all sorts of different opinions floating around. If they only talk about one opinion and they don't really talk about others, then you kind of have to be careful. Like for example, if I gave you the question, should vaping be illegal, and you go on the website and you just find an article that just talks about all the bad things that could happen if you make vaping illegal, then they probably would be biased because they're not looking at both sides of the picture. They're not showing you all different types of opinions about the subject. And is it free of emotion? What kind of language are they using? Are they saying things like, I'm disappointed, I'm angry, I'm hurt, I'm offended? Then that kind of emotional language tells you that they probably have an emotional opinion about it. And people that have emotional opinions about things, they're probably not going to be, they're going to be unbiased. They're going to be biased because yeah, it's just more likely someone that is really emotional will often be focused on one side of the argument and not really focusing on the others. You know, And also watch out for websites that have a lot of spelling and grammatical errors, typographical errors. So just spelling errors, grammar problems, because usually websites like that are not professional, and usually websites that are not professional, you have to be careful about whether or not you should trust them, because quite often those websites don't have, they don't use evidence or proof that it's quite often websites that do have a lot of spelling or grammatical errors are websites just for opinion, and that's when we're doing an inquiry, we can't rely on opinion in order to back up what we're trying to say, back up our answer to the inquiry question. Purpose. Why does the information exist? Is it trying to educate you? Is it trying to entertain you? Is it trying to sell you something? There's all sorts of reasons people make an article, and you need to think about why, because that would give you an idea about whether or not you should trust what they're saying. Because if someone's trying to sell you something, they're not going to tell you like, say for instance, they're trying to sell you a phone. They're not going to tell you the bad things about the phone, right? So why they're doing something, why they're making that web article matters, because it will tell you whether or not you can trust that article. Cool. So what I want you to do is fill out your full name up here, and then I'm just going to walk you through quickly. You're going to put your full name here. You're going to write what CRAAP stands for. You can check the slides again. And then you're going to look at 3 sites. And for each site, you're going to mention who is responsible for creating this website. Often you'll go in a website and it'll say written by so-and-so. That's who is responsible for this website. When was this website created? Look for a date. What are the strengths of this website? So for this, I want you to pick one of the letters, currency, relevance, purpose, blah, blah, blah. And I want you to explain why that website has currency or is relevant or has authority. Go in depth about why it does have that strength. How even-handed is this website? Is it biased? Think about the language that they're using. Is it really emotional? Do they look at both sides of the argument? Do they talk about all sorts of different opinions? Do they get their information from all sorts of places? Those are examples of what you can write about. Those are the sorts of things that you need to look for if you're going to answer this question: is it biased or is it not? Who is the intended audience? Age groups. Is it for 3 to 5 year olds like Dora the Explorer? Is it R16? Is it R18? Is it for people who love technology? Is it for people who love animals? That kind of thing. What is its primary focus? Is it trying to inform you, educate you, entertain you, blah, blah, blah? And what evidence is provided for claims? Did they talk to a professor? What did the professor say? What was their study that they used? If not, what else? What evidence did they have? Do they have a reporter there? They actually saw what was happening. How do they actually back up what they're trying to say in the website? So that's everything. Hope you, yeah, that's it. Good luck.